Back again. Back again. Welcome back again. Today is Wednesday. It's a green day. And I just felt like talking about something. We're having another sit-down video. Exciting! As you can tell by the title, this subject is going to be about how I personally make money being an independent illustrator. But first, we have to listen to the dogs bark. You done? Alright, they're done. How I personally make money as an artist. I would say this is one of the questions that I get asked, and I go into deer in the headlights freeze mode because I don't know how to answer that question. So every Thursday... Oh. Oh no, my books fell over. Right now you're sitting on a big old pile of books. Yeah, there is the tripod. I left the tripod at the studio, so you get to sit on a pile of books. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yes, so every Thursday at the studio place that I rent, they have like a third Thursday, they call it, where the doors are open to the public. Well, the doors are always open. Anybody could walk in at any time, which is quite terrifying, to be honest with you, and sometimes I worry about getting shot. Anyway, every third Thursday the public is invited to come, and they have like some sort of, oh, we're having a talent show, or we're having this comedian come in, and they come in on the Thursday night, and then the people who come to see that can like wander around and like visit studios and talk to people. And as a person who has a studio there, you're encouraged to leave your door open and to talk to people who come in and talk to you, you know, try to just talk to whoever comes in and be pleasant and friendly and all the things that I'm really not good at. I hate Third Thursday, but I still do it because if I want people to see my stuff, I gotta be open. I gotta not hide away. It's really hard, but I do go to them. And the last one I went to, I actually left my studio space and visited another artist, and we were just talking, and he does abstract oil painting, which is fantastic for him. Very good. I personally could never do abstract oil paint because oil paint and I don't mix. I'm allergic to some of the chemicals that are in oil paint. My skin bubbles up and breaks out and bleeds. I get hives. It's really not very good. And there's a lot of dangerous chemicals when you work with oil paint. Oil paint is pretty and beautiful, but very, very dangerous to use and not very healthy as well. So I don't oil paint. I don't do abstract because I just don't, my brain, you would think that way, but it doesn't. So anyways, we were just chatting, and he said, so what job do you have? What do you do for work? So we were talking about how I'm usually there during the day and how he usually comes in at night after he goes to work. And I kind of froze because I didn't know what to say. You know, this is a person that I've talked to on and off over the last like 3 months, but I still don't know who they are. I know nothing about them. So I don't want to just blurt out, oh, well, I have schizophrenia. Like, I don't want to do that because there's a lot of stigma. And it's hard to talk about, to be honest, because I grew up with the knowledge and the thought that, you know, work, like art is not a viable work option, and it's just going to be a hobby forever, even though I went to college for it, and I'm going to work somewhere that I hate. And you're supposed to hate work, and you're supposed to be stressed out about it, and you're supposed to be miserable. Like, you work a job until you're 65, and the whole entire time you're miserable. Like, that's what I grew up with thinking. So now, being able to do art as work and not have to do a conventional job, I'm still wrapping my head around the idea. It's been about 2 years now that this has been going on, but I'm still like, I'm kind of flabbergasted, you know, about how this has all worked out. Whoa, excuse it. I need to really re-dye it. It's very blonde up here, and then it's like very black down. It looks really bizarre. I just haven't had the motivation to dye it or fix it, so it's just ugly. Like the rest of me. Anyways, so he said, you know, what do you do for work? And I didn't want to lie, because I don't like to lie, but I didn't know what to say. So I just said, well, I make some money by selling art, usually prints. But sometimes I can sell originals, and then I left it at that. And I know that sounds like, oh, I make all my money from selling art, la-di-da-di-da, I'm big enough and people care enough about my work that I actually can live off of my work. I know that's how it sounds. That's not how it is at all. I barely sell any of my originals, and I barely sell prints. But I didn't know what else to say because I didn't want to just tell this person that, you know, I have severe mental illness. Like, I didn't want that to be like the first thing that they knew about me. You know, maybe after like a year or 2 years of knowing this person, if we get kind of close, then maybe. But until then, I have no interest in dealing with that stigma and that person having that knowledge when I barely know who they are. So how do I make money as an artist? Well, but it is true. I do sell original pieces and I do sell prints. And in the description below, I actually have a link specifically to my prints page on my website. So if you want to check out that, it is there. I really enjoy selling prints. It makes me really happy to think that people enjoy my work enough to have a piece of it on their wall. It brings me great joy. So once again, those are down there. And I'm always adding more because I'm always making more. More stuff. And that's a good thing. Also, another thing is if you go to my website, which is also down in there, the description, and you see a piece of work that you like and you want a print of it, I have a contact page and you can email me and say, hey, I'm interested in this piece of work. Would you make a print of it? Or would you sell the original? I am totally open to do either one. The only original pieces that are not available for sale right now is the Oceanica pieces because I have a show coming up next year that has those pieces in it, so I can't sell them because they're already claimed to be in a show, so that would be really awkward if I showed up and didn't have like half of them. So those are not for sale, but most everything else I can make a print of, or if I have it still, I can make an arrangement where we sell the original. I will say there's a lot of stuff on my website that I don't have the original for anymore because for some reason all of the work that I made in college has just disappeared. I have no idea where those portfolios went. We've scoured this house. They weren't with me in Minnesota when I lived with my boyfriend at the time. They were all brought back to this house, and we can't find any of that work anywhere. And that's really, really frustrating. So some of the stuff I just don't have. I don't have the originals for, and I would have to sell prints of them because there's no other option. Anyways, I guess the other thing I wanted to talk about was when selling originals. Usually how it goes is you would show your work at like a gallery space and then you put a price to the piece of work. And the gallery takes a commission piece, like takes a commission out of the sale. So let's say if I had something for $100, and the commission price was like 20%. If I can do my math right, that's like $20 taken out. So in actuality, you're not selling the piece for $100, you're selling that piece for $80. And so when pricing your work, if the place that you're showing takes commission, you have to bump up your price so that you get paid the right amount that you deserve. And what do I mean by the right amount that you deserve? Well, when you're selling artwork, you have to take in a lot of like details and a lot of variables when pricing work. And pricing work is so fucking hard. It is so hard. For me, it's one of the hardest things, besides just straight up talking to people. You know, you have to take into account the materials that you use, maybe the size, if it's framed, if you have it framed, that's important as well. How long it took you to make it, and skill. What your skill level is at. And for the longest time, I only counted like these 4 things when racking up my price for a piece of work. And I never focused on number 5, never focused on the skill part of it. But I was watching some YouTubers recently, some other art YouTubers that were talking about pricing artwork, and one of them said, you have to price your work accordingly and do not forget to price it to your skill level. For example, I went to art school. I technically am a professional artist. I have that degree, if degrees count as anything, which they usually don't. I have to take into account that my skill level and the skills that I have are higher than other people's skills, you know? And I can't say that too, like, that's just not a humble thing to say, I guess, but it's an accurate thing to say. So when I'm pricing my work, I have to put into account the skill that I have, like my time as a skilled professional. And that's really hard because, you know, you want to sell the work really badly, and you want the work to be in other people's hands because that's a good thing to have happen. You know, selling work is an amazing feeling. You know, you can get a little bit like, oh no, my baby, you're taking my baby, oh no, my baby. But that's just something you have to get over. And luckily I'm over that stage, and I could talk in another video about how I got over my unhealthy emotional attachment to finished work. If you are all interested in that, let me know. I can talk more about that in another video. But yeah, I wasn't putting into account charging for just the skill level that I have. And so now when I price work, I put that in there. You get the worry that, oh my gosh, this is too highly priced. The price is too high. No one's going to want to buy this. But in actuality, you have to price your work correctly. You know, you have to take into account all the factors, and you have to take into account, you know, a question that I ask myself is, how much am I willing to give away this piece? Like, what is the price that I'm willing to accept to have this piece be taken from me forever? So that's another thing that I think about. I know there's a lot of variables to think about, and that's why it's so difficult. And then at other times, it's like you look at a piece and a number pops into your head and you're like, all right, that's the right price, you know? It's very strange. It's not always the same. And I find the more I put myself into the work, the harder it is to sell it. And I'm pretty sure that's the case for a lot of people. Probably a lot of people. But yeah, it's really hard to explain, and I'm not explaining it well, and I'm not being very helpful. I'm sorry. I wanted to make this video, and I wanted to make this video helpful, but I'm feeling that it's not very helpful. You know, what was my train of thought? Oh yes, underpricing your stuff, you know. You want it to sell, so you'll subconsciously or consciously decide to sell it at a lower price just to, you know, get rid of it. But that's really unfair to yourself, and you have to remember that if you are serious about selling artwork, you need to be serious about selling artwork, and you need to be aware of all of the factors that go into selling artwork. And you do the math, and yeah, maybe it seems really high, and you bump it down just so you feel a bit more comfortable. But I think it's really important to add up all of it to the correct number first, and then decide the factors of, like, maybe where you live. Maybe you're in an art desert where not a lot of people are buying art. Maybe you live in an art boom, or like a very populated area of art where people are always buying art. And maybe you price a little bit higher when you're in like the population of art, and you price lower where you're in the art desert because people don't have the extra income just to spend on art. So you have to take that into account as well. Maybe venue as well, where you're showing. You have to maybe tweak it here and there. If you're like showing at a really illustrious place, maybe you price it a little bit higher because the people that go there are expecting to have higher quality art. And I hate saying it, but sometimes the price of an artwork will elevate it to a better quality of artwork. That seems really kind of like stupid, but it's a bit true. It's a bit true. Versus like selling your art out of like a small cafe. The people who go to the small cafe are possibly a different crowd than the people that go to the gala, you know. And so you have to juggle the price a little bit, but always I add it up to the whole entire final price, and then I sit with it for a few days. And then I consider, all right, is this an achievable goal? Is this an achievable price point for my work? Or do I need to lower it due to these various circumstances? Right now, I guess I could talk a little bit more about next year's show. I'm going to show my Oceanica pieces, 11 of them, because at the time I had 12, but I felt awkward about showing like the Jaeger. God. Dogs. I will never have a dog of my own. It's just so frustrating. Are you done? Are you done? So, what was I saying? Damn it. It's so distracting. I forget everything I'm saying. Oh yeah, next year's thing. So I don't have to sell my work there. Like, I don't have to sell. I can say, not for sale, and that's fine. Or I can put them up for sale, and the place that I'm showing will take 20% commission, which is, a pretty low commission price, and actually is pretty decent. I've shown at places where they take 40% of your sale. So 20% is probably about average, I would say, for places taking out of your work. So I have to decide what my Oceanica pieces are worth on their own, and then I need to add 20% to that so I get paid fairly for my own work. And that makes sense, right? Right? I'm asking validation for my camera, right? What is on my shoes? What is this black shit? So yeah, that's kind of what I'm playing with now, is deciding if I want to try to sell my work there or not. It's a pretty populated place. There's a lot of people that go through, and a lot of people from other countries that go through that place. So I'm leaning heavily towards the idea of trying to sell stuff there and saying goodbye, I love you, goodbye, have a great life to some of my original Oceanica pieces. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't received any contract or contact information after I went to the tour that I took there. So I'm just kind of waiting on that and thinking about it a bit more, because I could hold on to them forever, but they would just end up sitting in, a portfolio, a paper portfolio, just flat. No one would see them, and they would just stack up and be in the way, and that would be that. So I would really like to sell them at some point, and I'm thinking that this would be a good opportunity because there's going to be a lot of eyes, and 20% is pretty damn good. So I'll keep you posted on if I decide to sell them there or not. I still haven't decided on a price yet. I think I'm just waiting until I get the contract and then I'll decide. But until then, I'm just going to be making more and more of them, more and more pieces of artwork, I mean, and go from there. The short to that question of, how do you make money as an artist? In my situation, it's very small. I don't get very much money from it, but art is what I do. It's my life. And so just being able to do it and make stuff is reward enough. I don't go out, really trying to sell myself too hard. I should try to sell myself harder, but I don't. And maybe that'll change too. I don't know. You never know what's going to happen in the future. Anyway, thanks for listening to me ramble for a long time, and I will see you next week.